This energy can be unsettling for those who are not aligned within themselves. They may misinterpret it as arrogance or aloofness. They may feel judged simply because they are seen, but the one who is aligned does not judge. They simply reflect. Others see in them what they fear or lack in themselves, and this reflection can be powerful. Alignment is not perfection. It is not the absence of emotion, error, vulnerability. It is the willingness to be honest about them. It is the strength to respond, not react. It is the capacity to hold space for others without needing to fill the silence with noise. When a person has reached this space, their aura becomes strong, not because they crafted it like a costume, but because it is a natural byproduct of deep internal work. There is no need to act powerful when you feel powerful. There is no need to convince others when you are convinced yourself. There is no need to compete when you are content. This is alignment. This is the source of the kind of aura that others cannot always handle. It exposes what they avoid. It disrupts their illusions. It invites them to become more, not through words, but through example. And this is not always comfortable. It can create distance. It can stir discomfort, but it can also inspire. For those who are ready, such presence becomes a light. It does not push them. It does not pull them. It simply stands. In its steadiness, it offers a silent invitation. Come back to yourself. In the end, the power of an aura is not something mystical or mysterious. It is simply coherence. It is the silent echo of a life lived in truth. And when truth is embodied, it becomes unshakable. So if your aura is strong and others cannot handle it, do not bend. Do not shrink. Do not trade alignment for acceptance. Continue to walk with clarity. Continue to act from principle. Continue to refine your path. Your power is not in what others see. It is in what you know to be true when no one is watching. That is the energy no one can replicate. That is the power no one can take. Not everyone will understand or accept your presence, and that's not a fault. When the energy you carry comes from deep inner stillness, refined self-awareness, and a consistent path of self-discipline, it radiates in a way that cannot be masked or moderated. People often react to what they do not understand, and a powerful presence can trigger discomfort in those who have not yet made peace with themselves. This discomfort is not necessarily about you. It is about what you represent. You become a mirror. You reflect their scattered thoughts, their restless energy, their lack of clarity. This reflection can be painful, even if you are silent, even if your intention is peaceful. The energy of an aligned person challenges the illusion that many cling to. Most people are used to performance-based interactions, conversations filled with validation-seeking and false harmony. When they encounter someone who is calm but deeply alert, who listens without needing to reply, who speaks only what is necessary, it can feel unfamiliar, even threatening. You are not responding in the way they expect. You are not playing the roles they are used to. You are not feeding their stories. This can create friction. Some may try to test you. Some may try to provoke you. Others may withdraw from you completely. You must understand that this is not a reflection of failure on your part. You are not too much. You are simply different in a world trained to celebrate noise, distraction, and emotional chaos. You are still, and in that stillness, others hear their own noise. You are centered, and in that balance, others feel their own imbalance. This creates a silent tension that you must learn to observe without personalizing. Do not let it distort your energy. Just as a mountain does not collapse under the wind, your energy must remain unshaken by reaction. People who are not ready for truth will often feel more comfortable in the presence of illusion. They are not rejecting you. They are rejecting what they are not yet prepared to face within themselves. It is easy to take this personally, especially if you have walked a long path alone. But solitude often becomes the companion of those who no longer fit into fragmented spaces. When you begin to align yourself with clarity, peace, and authenticity, the spaces and people that do not resonate will naturally fall away. This is not abandonment, it is adjustment, ishagi. You are creating a new vibration, and only those who are also resonating with that level of truth will be able to walk beside you without resistance. This does not make them wrong and you right. It simply means that your paths are different. Not everyone is meant to journey with you. Some are teachers in brief moments, others are lessons in disguise, and a few, very few, will recognize you without needing an explanation. But until those few appear, You must remain committed to your path. You must stop diluting your energy to be accepted. You must stop explaining your stillness to those who only understand movement. You must stop shrinking your clarity to make others comfortable. Your work is not to be understood by everyone. Your work is to understand yourself so deeply that being misunderstood no longer disturbs your peace. In this understanding, you will find freedom. You no longer need to explain yourself. Your actions, your calm, your direction, they all speak clearly to those who can truly listen. The rest will interpret through their own lenses, their own stories, their own wounds. Let them. You cannot control perception. You can only control alignment. Some will label your silence as arrogance. Some will see your boundaries as cold. Some will misread your directness as aggression. But you do not exist to fit into misperceptions, you exist to live in truth. And truth is often uncomfortable, especially to those who have lived too long in comfort built on illusions. Your presence will make people feel seen. Even when you say nothing, it will create ripples. Some will be drawn to it, others will resist it. This is the nature of real energy. It moves things, it reveals things, and it changes things. You must trust that your presence, when aligned with sincerity, integrity, and peace, is doing its work even in silence. There will be moments of doubt. You will question whether it would be easier to just fit in, to soften your strength, to play a smaller role. But deep down, you already know that there is no going back. Once you have awakened to your own energy, once you have tasted what it means to be whole within yourself, nothing else satisfies. The shallow exchanges feel heavy. The forced roles feel hollow. The masked interactions feel tiring. So let them misunderstand. Let them distance themselves. Let the world respond in whatever way it must. Your task is not to control the response. Your task is to remain aligned. You are not here to make everyone comfortable. You are here to live your truth so clearly that it becomes an invitation for others to meet you there. But you cannot force that meeting. It must be chosen. And until it is, walk alone if you must. Hold your space. Protect your peace for peace. Keep your energy clean. In time, those who resonate will arrive, not with noise, not with confusion, but with recognition. They will not need you to prove who you are. They will see it because they are seeing from a place of alignment within themselves. Until then, remain as you are, clear, grounded, authentic. That's your power, not in being accepted by many, but in being unshakably you, even when you are understood by few. True presence does not seek attention. It commands it through stillness and authenticity. There is a profound difference between the person who tries to be seen and the one who simply is. One reaches outward in hopes of validation, applause, or recognition. The other remains grounded in themselves, and from this inner rootedness, a quiet magnetism begins to emerge. This is not the magnetism of performance or manipulation. It is the natural resonance of truth. In a world conditioned by stimulation and constant noise, the rare presence of stillness becomes loud in its own way. It stands out not by effort, but by essence. The person who is truly present does not demand attention with words, expressions, or dramatic gestures. Their presence is felt without announcement. Their stillness draws the eyes not because it is seeking, but because it is settled. And in a world where most people are running from themselves, this settled energy is deeply unfamiliar and deeply compelling. There is a discipline to this kind of presence. It is not born overnight, nor is it accidental. It is shaped through countless moments of choosing to be here and now fully. It is the result of staying when others run, listening when others speak, breathing when others react. You occur. It is cultivated in silence through practices that center the mind, open the body, and calm the emotions. It is the product of knowing who you are and no longer needing to borrow identity from external sources. Authenticity becomes the foundation, and authenticity is not loud. It does not advertise itself. It does not seek to convince. It simply reveals what is already there without filter, without decoration. This honesty, even when unspoken, speaks volumes. People feel safe in the presence of authenticity because it does not carry hidden agendas. They may not always like what they feel, but they feel it clearly. There is no confusion, there is no distortion. This kind of presence is not performative, it is transformative. It does not change others through persuasion, but through example. It holds space, it does not interrupt, it observes. And in its observation, others are often confronted by what they are not used to seeing. This is why such presence can be difficult for many to receive. It is not designed to entertain. It is not crafted to impress. It is simply aligned with truth. And when truth stands before those who live in illusion, it causes a reaction. Some will feel threatened, some will feel exposed, others will feel drawn to it like a compass finally pointing north. It is not your job to manage their reaction. It is only your responsibility to maintain your center. To be present is to be undisturbed by noise. To remain unmoved not out of apathy, but out of clarity. It is not about suppressing emotion, but integrating it so deeply that it no longer controls your expression. When you embody this stillness, your energy becomes powerful. It communicates more than your words ever could. You enter a room and people feel it before you speak. They sit beside you and the pressure to perform dissolves. They speak to you and something about your listening makes them hear themselves differently. This is presence. It is a sacred offering. And it requires no announcement. The moment you try to chase attention, your presence weakens. The moment you try to control how you are perceived, you step out of authenticity. The ego wants to be seen. The soul simply wants to be. That is the difference. The one who is truly present is not worried about being interesting. They are interested. They are not trying to be impressive. They are simply immersed in the now. This immersion creates depth, and depth cannot be faked. It cannot be copied. It can only be lived. In your stillness, others remember that it is possible to slow down. In your clarity, others glimpse the possibility of their own truth. In your authenticity, others feel the invitation to remove their masks, but not all will be ready. Some will misunderstand your calm for detachment. Others will mistake your observation for judgment. This, too, is not your concern. Presence is not about being liked. It is about being real. And reality, when it is unfiltered, is not always received with comfort, but it is always received with impact. To cultivate true presence, you must learn to value the subtle. You must become sensitive to energy, to breath, to posture, to silence. You must stop performing and start listening. You must stop reacting and start observing. You must step back from the compulsion to prove and lean into the simplicity of just being. This is not passive. It is deeply active in the quietest way. It takes more strength to remain still than to respond. It takes more clarity to hold space than to fill it. It takes more confidence to say little than to say much. The person who has nothing to prove does not rush. They do not fill every moment with explanation. They trust that their energy is already communicating what words cannot. And those who are aligned will feel it. They will understand it without needing it explained. Presence cannot be fabricated. You can imitate the gestures, the tone, the pace. But true presence is felt, not staged. It arises from a mind that is clear, a heart that is open, and a body that is grounded. It is born from integrity, the internal consistency that makes you trustworthy to yourself. And that trust cannot be outsourced. It is earned through action, through reflection, through discipline. As you walk the path of alignment, your presence will become more powerful. Not because you try to make it so, but because everything unnecessary falls away. You are no longer scattered. You are no longer pulled in multiple directions. You are no longer pretending. And in that simplicity, others will feel something different. Some will not have words for it. Others will call it charisma or magnetism. But it is none of those things. It is presence, quiet, steady, clear. So when you feel unseen, remember, your presence is not meant to be loud, it is meant to be real. When you feel overlooked, know that the depth you carry is not always visible to eyes trained by the surface. And when you are doubted, return to stillness. From stillness, you do not need to speak to be heard. You only need to be. The journey of cultivating a powerful aura is not one of seeking control over others, but of mastering the self. At its deepest level, it is not about projecting strength outward, but embodying inner clarity and discipline so fully that it becomes your natural state. Mastery over the self is the silent root of all true power. When you have taken the time to sit with your discomfort, to observe your patterns, to confront your emotional reflexes, and to regulate your inner storms, you reach a place where your energy no longer fluctuates with the chaos of the external world. You become stable, and in that stability, others sense something they cannot quite name but instinctively recognize. This kind of mastery requires consistency. It cannot be performed. it must be lived. You must walk through your fears rather than avoid. You must feel your triggers without becoming them. You must become responsible for your responses, not as a form of repression, but as an act of liberation. You stop blaming others for your inner state. You no longer outsource your peace to situations or people. You take full ownership. And in this ownership, you begin to reclaim fragments of energy that were once scattered. You become whole. Wholeness is not perfection, it is integration. It means you know your darkness but are not ruled by it. You know your emotions but are not consumed by them. You know your desires but are not enslaved by them. This is the essence of self-mastery, and in its presence, others feel both calm and unsettled, depending on how much mastery they have within themselves. The individual who has mastered themselves does not speak often about it. They have no need to declare their control, no urge to dominate a space, no obsession with being right. Their restraint is not weakness. It is evidence of power. To know you can speak and choose silence. To know you can act and choose patience. To know you can dominate and instead choose grace. This is the quiet force that forms the core of a powerful aura. It is not meant to intimidate, but to illuminate. Self-mastery also brings a natural alignment between intention and action. There is no longer a gap between what you say and what you do. This coherence builds trust, not just from others, but within yourself. You trust your own decisions. You no longer waver in doubt. When you say yes, it is complete. When you say no, it is clear. This inner alignment is rare, and because it is rare, it is powerful. People feel drawn to those who are certain, not in arrogance, but in clarity. And yet, that same clarity can be difficult for others to face. It can expose the areas where they are still inconsistent, still reactive, still unresolved. And so reactions arise. Some will try to test your calm. Some will project their turmoil onto you. Others will withdraw because your very presence feels like a challenge to their comfort zones. But through self-mastery, you do not take these reactions personally. You understand them without absorbing them. You remain clear. You observe without attachment. You respond without reaction. This gives you space, space to choose, space to pause, space to remain sovereign over your own energy. In a world addicted to stimulation and immediacy, this spaciousness is both rare and confronting. It is the space of presence, and only those who have cultivated it within can hold it around others. The path of self-mastery is often quiet. It is filled with hours of inner work that no one sees. It is not glamorous. It is not public. It is you choosing to sit in silence rather than distraction. It is you catching your reactive impulse and breathing through it. It is you turning toward your own pain with compassion instead of blame. These moments accumulate, and over time they shift your energy. You become less chaotic, less impulsive, less dependent. This reduction is not a loss. It is a return to your essence. As you master yourself, your relationships change. You no longer tolerate manipulation, disrespect, or emotional immaturity. Not out of pride, but because your own energy has become too refined for chaos to feel familiar. You no longer chase connection, you attract it by resonance. And only those who are also doing their inner work will be able to meet you where you are. This may bring periods of solitude. But solitude, when embraced, deepens mastery. It allows space for clarity, for healing, for self-reflection. It teaches you to enjoy your own company, to become self-sustaining. And from this fullness, when others do arrive, you meet them not from need, but from abundance. Self-mastery does not make you rigid. It makes you fluid. You adapt without losing yourself. You evolve without abandoning your principles. You hold boundaries without hostility. You embody peace without passivity. You act from choice, not compulsion. This refined way of being sends signals beyond words. People feel safer around you, even if they can't explain why. Or they feel uncomfortable because they are not yet used to such clarity. Both are natural. Neither is your responsibility. You are not here to control the reactions of others. You are here to master your own, and that alone shifts everything. When you have cultivated mastery within, your energy cannot be manipulated. You no longer chase illusions. You are no longer seduced by drama. You see clearly, and in that seeing you remain free. Freedom is not the absence of structure. It is the presence of discipline by choice. It is the ability to say no without guilt. To say yes with full intention, to walk away when necessary, to stand still when the moment calls for it. All of these are signs of mastery, and they all contribute to the depth and gravity of your aura. In the end, the most powerful energy you can carry is not that of control, but of self-command. Not domination over others, but integration of your own layers. Not loudness, but clarity. Not force, but truth. Master yourself and you will not need to prove yourself. Embody your values and you will not need to argue them. Live your truth and you will not need to justify it. In that space, your aura will grow, not as a shield, but as a light, not to overpower, but to inspire. Those who are ready will rise to meet it. Those who are not may fall away. Let both happen. Your only task is to remain faithful to the work, faithful to the path, faithful to the quiet mastery that changes everything without needing to be seen. Tools